Hello, hello. So I had something have been thinking about, and someone mentioned it on the Age of Empires 3 Discord server, or Age of Empires Discord server, about how, they would like a rework for the revolutions. And I have wanted a rework for at least a good bit of revolutions for a while. I remember when Age of Empires 3 DE first came out, and I went through and played every revolution and used every single one. And I enjoyed them that first time, but they were really after the first time they were not I realized oh, these are not really useful or that great. So I kind of wanted to go through and talk about how each of these revolutions could be more fun and basically just how they would be more useful for games, both in maybe comp 1v1s, but also more in my field, which is free for alls and late team games and things like that, 2v2v2v2s or whatever. Uh so that might the thing people most would probably think about is well, revolutions aren't supposed to be able to be viable late game. Which, yes, there is that, but there's not really a reason not to make them viable for a late game. At least give them something to make them to be able to do that, because it's just extra content that people can enjoy with and play around with. Content creators can make videos about them, and it will turn up. It's like a free kind of DLC, which I mean, maybe they don't want to do it just because they don't want a free DLC, but I think people would really enjoy it, which is ultimately what I think you want for your game. So we're just gonna go through these. I have Age of Empires pulled up here just in case we want to test anything, but I think we're just gonna go and look at some of these. So the first one's Argentina. I did do an Argentina video as Spanish. I did that treaty, 60-minute, I think, treaty. And actually, I won and had the highest score as Argentina. I revolted from Spain. What I was going for was I was trying to use these guys right here, the mounted grenadiero or whatever, however you say that, and the imp mortars that come from this card right here. I did win mostly because I just spammed out tons of forts. I did not. I used some imperial mortars. So that was fine. Obviously in comp, being able to instantly ship imperial mortars might be useful. The main thing that bothered me was that I used these for the first attack, but then they died so quickly because they have so many tags. They have cavalry, heavy cavalry, light cavalry, grenade trooper. They just have all these tags, so they end up and outlaw. I mean, just everything. They end up just being very, very weak, and just there's so many problems with them. They're just not a good unit. I know at the start they seem to be OP, but nowadays they're just terrible. I don't. There's just nothing for them really. The main problem I found was that number one, they do have all those tags, so everything multiplies against them. But then the grenade attack just isn't really high enough to compensate for how it's the grenade attack isn't high enough for the extra area to be that useful. Obviously the food's fine. It's one pop. Oh, it's two pop now, so that's even worse. It's just not a good unit. There's not any real reason to make it, and it doesn't have the grenade uh launcher card, so that doesn't affect it. So they have to wind up to throw, and every time a unit dies, they have to rewind up. So that causes them to not do as much damage. They have and when they get into hand attack on them, they switch to hand attack, which they don't. They have terrible hand attack, so they end up just being very weak, and they're just not a useful unit. I don't see why you would use it, except maybe to run into someone's town and siege stuff. But you have the Imperial Mortar, you don't really need to be running into town and sieging things. So what I would like is maybe a boost to them. The gaucho and things like that. There's like 4 units like this. No one uses these. Like they can gather like from cows or whatever, but no one's gonna build them. Especially late game. They're just not very helpful. So you get when you revolt here, you get these 2 ranged cav that no one's gonna use, and they're worthless. Like, I mean, just give me something more. It just feels bland. I don't know. I ended up winning that game just because I built Rodaleros and then were unctioned, even though they're only age 4. So, I mean, if you're going to have a revolt, give me something useful. Like, I can get Imperial Mortars. I don't need a revolt to get Imperial Mortars. So, you might say this is obvious. Well, Imperial Mortars, like, revolting get Imperial Mortars is for con, not treaty games like that. But, I mean, I would like for the style I would like for all revolts is to be useful right when you do it, then weak for a time, and then maybe late game give them something that they can build up to be stronger again. This Argentina just doesn't have that. There's nothing that can be strong for them in the late game. But they do have like a boost, right? Obviously all revolts, just because all your builds turn into military units, that is a boost itself. So, you get a boost and then it's gone. But unlike other revolts, such as Canada, well, Canada's slightly different, but such as South Africa and Finland, you can't rebuild what you lost with Argentina. So that would be, I would give them some kind of late game boost. What should that be? Maybe it's just a boost to this guy. Maybe give him an imp upgrade. Give him something. You can boost him, or you could maybe, I don't know, give imp upgrades for all the cannons, not just the mortar. That would be useful, because then you could pair those imp cannons with this guy. I mean, sure, that still wouldn't be quite as good as going age 5, but at least you could sort of catch up later on in the game, and you wouldn't just lose everything and everything useful. So either boost him, give them all imp cannons, or something like that. I won't do the Mexico ones. Actually, let's look at one Mexico one. So what I like about the Mexico ones is that I wish all revolutions were like them. Not in that you do them like revolt in H2 or whatever, but just like they're complex. They have cool cards and unique things. And that's what I want for these other revolutions. Maybe give other cool cards to Argentina. I'm not exactly sure what they would look like what kind of cards you would want to get them. But right now, I just want to call attention to this, and maybe a little later, I can make a video saying make individual videos for each ones for what I would change, and exactly what I think should happen to them, not just general give them imp or whatever, this thing or that thing. Barbary States, I have had this done to me a lot. The Barbary States revolt, mostly from people who I had beat, and then they're like, "Oh crap, I got to revolt and try to kill his villagers because I'm losing right now." I think this is a fine one. Again, it does give you that instant boost, which is good, but then also it does fall off later on. About after that initial army's gone, it falls off. But again, you can't really rebuild. So I think for things like this, I would make this guy right here for even just a little thing. Make this guy right here. Make it so you could get him imp upgraded and make you train him trainable. Even just something so little as that. Just give him one imp unit so that in that late game they can catch up a little more and not just be like, okay, well now it didn't work and I'm just going to be in the dumps. And maybe make it so you can upgrade to Imp Falx. Imp Falx and this guy, that might be a cool combo. Imperial Falx and the Barbary or Berber Camel Rider. That would be cool. I would love to see that army comp. That would just be fun. So if you do something like that, but as is right now, they're fairly good, except that after the initial fight, they fall off. But then you can never regain what you lost, which sure, there's a give and take, it's a trade-off. But again, I think if you did something like this, it wouldn't affect 1v1s to a great extent, but it would make people in free-for-alls or treaties or anything like that be like, okay, this might be something fun I would want to try. Brazil. Brazil is the one with the weak revolutionaries. Yes, yes. I'm not quite sure what the point of revolutionaries are. I just don't like revolutionaries already aren't like that strong. So I don't know what the point of making them weaker is, even if you have more. Like that's not a bonus to make them weaker, but they give you more. That seems like a loss to me because then you can't like micro as well. You can't guard your cannons as well or anything like that. So I would probably revert that and give them some other bonus, having to do with Independence Dragoon maybe, which we'll take a look at him in a little bit. Again, we have this like outlawish raider or right like outlawish like what is he, a rancher type unit. He has heavy cavalry tag too. This guy I believe has a multiplier against heavy infantry, right? Yes, so this is like the rifle rider, just a lot worse. Is he one pop though? So this is actually might be a fine unit. Gets beat by dragoons, gets beat by skirmisher, but can beat heavy infantry and hand cap. So that might be a cool unit. I'm not looking at his stats. Really doesn't seem that great. I mean, 18 times 3 against heavy infantry. That's very bad skirmisher. So you might want to give him some type of boost. Maybe at least later on. But I find like a bunch of civs, a bunch of South American civs all have revolts. I mean, not civs. They all have like the same kind of unit who looks the same in everything, and it's just super repetitive and it's not really like fun. It's. I want to keep saying it's not like it's fun. It's not fun. It gets very dry very fast. Now, something I do find fun is the Independence Dragoon. This is a cool unit to me, is because it gives you a unique unit that you can't get anywhere else. Now, this unique unit isn't really that helpful. I mean, it basically gives him a lance attack so that he is more effective, or he's not as weak to skirmishers. That's all he does. He has the same effectiveness against cannons. He's the same effectiveness against cav and hand attack, but he's not as weak to skirmishers. Yeah, just skirmishers. That's all that bonus hand attack does. Now, if you give him a trample attack like the hack belt, maybe it's make him attack faster. Maybe he has a card. I could actually look at that. Do they have a card? Let me see here. No. So if they gave him a card like a 1.5x against infantry, maybe just give that. Where's this? Maybe just make this card here, Guard of Honor. Also give it a 1.5 against infantry. Then that hand attack suddenly becomes useful. But as is right now, it just makes them a little less weak to infantry, or to skirmishers, I mean. And it's just they're still gonna get beat badly. So it ends up the special thing you're getting them is just not that useful. So that's what I would do for them. Independence Dragoon would be good as if you give it a 1.5 against infantry, not necessarily light infantry. 1.5 against all infantry, maybe even 2, and this would be a cool unit. But as is right now, he's just any other Dragoon. There's not really anything special about him. Other than that, I do like the legendary native warriors. You got 14. You can infinitely ship, and you can get them legendary. That's cool. Maybe you could pair up this as a skirm, the archers, and the honor guard or guard of honor, whatever they're called. I don't know. I missed their name already, but the independent dragoon. You could pair like it could be a skirmisher dragoon, skirm goon. That's what it's called, the skirm goon pairing up, and you could have imp one of these, and if you gave them these guys that like 2x versus infantry, they would be basically an imp unit. You could pair those up, and that would be a cool late game thing. Other than that, Gatling guns are not useful unless you have coffee mill, from what I find. I mean, obviously the first time you ship them can be helpful, but after that, I don't ship them anymore. I'm always shipping one for it. I love the fort. These guys I don't like. These guys I don't like. Gatling guns are fine for one time, but other than that, they're useless. 2 covered wagons, that's fine. All that's pretty fine. But that's the overall thing I would do. Get rid of this bonus that makes the revolutionaries split into 2. Give dragoons multiplier against infantry and hand attack. And that's really all you need. And suddenly they would be a cool late game like revolt you could do. Canada, I already like Canada how it is. I don't think you need to change. The only thing I would change is maybe make it so that you could make these Blackwatch Highlanders imp upgraded. But other than that, the Native American Allies card, all those extras, no pop units, Canada is very powerful in late game. I've made a video on that. Played as British, and even though all your units are industrial age, you can get like 150 pop army, 150 pop. I mean, 50 of those pop don't count, and you can get 50 bears. So that ends up being very big, and this is a really cool late game. Even though it's cool in a normal game, but it's a very cool late game revolt. So I really like the way Canada is styled, and I wish all of them were styled like this. The only thing I think I might change to help them a little bit, as I said, would be making it so you can somehow upgrade these Highlanders to Imp. What are you on? Central America? That's for Mexicans. Chile. Ooh. Yeah, I love Chile. Not that I love that they're useful, but I just love the Hussars of Death. Like, how cool is that? The Hussars of Death, this do it right. They're like imp level units, even though they don't have imp level hit points. They're imp level in their attack and hit point bonus. So you got an imp level unit right there. So that's a cool thing. That's what I want Civs to have. You got the Machu Picchu Bolus Riders Elite. That's age 4 version, so they can beat other Cav, even though Hussars of Death already really do that. I have used this in a late game. It did not work out in the end, just because you can't only build Cav and win. Yeah, you just can't build only Hussars of Death and win. And all your other units are age 4, even though that is one age 5 unit. If you gave them the Hussars of Death and one other age 5 unit, they would be really good. But as is right now, they do give you that initial boost, but then they fall off, which as they should. But you can't really make that up again in the later game. So I don't know what imp unit I would give them. I'd have to look at what kind of units or military Chile had back then. But I like the Hussars of Death. Give them one other imp unit, and that would be good. They would be good in the late game. Obviously, I don't think you should give them 2 imp units right away, but maybe make a card that costs something that could let you get imp units. Egypt. So I actually used to really like Egypt, but right now they're not good, or they nerfed them. I don't know why they nerfed Egypt so hard. Well, so I think they boosted their initial revolt abilities, but they nerfed their later games. So used to in their later game, you could just build Nizam Fusiliers as many as you wanted, or with pop or whatever. But that was a cool late game thing because Nizam Fusiliers are basically age 4 Janissaries that you could switch to different bonuses, and you could pair that up with the infinite 2 horse artillery, which age 4 are fine, and it was just a fun combo. But changing them to the however Cavet Fusiliers, whatever, that's just not useful. I don't need a revolutionary that has extra bonus against just a siege unit. That's just not helpful to me because I can get infinite horse artillery. I can send 5 Stratiates. I don't need another unit that does extra damage against cannons. So the thing I would do for them is change it back to Nizam Fusiliers. Suddenly they're cool again, and that's really all they need is just that change. And then this would be a useful revolt. Obviously, the one Mameluke with each shipment is fun, even though it's not a age 5 Mameluke. If you have the Nizam Fusiliers, you don't need an Imp Mameluke. So, yeah, just change those back to Nizam Fusiliers. That's all you really need. I guess British and Ottomans have options to that. So that would be cool to give Nizam Fusiliers to British. I really enjoy Finland. That's our next one. They were a lot of fun. I don't think I made a video of it, but I did play a game with it. Went for like 2.5 hours. I covered the map in Outposts. It was so much fun. Even though it didn't work out because it was a 2v2, v2, v2, and my teammate wasn't very good, so I just couldn't last forever. But this is a really fun revolt. You know, you got military units, the Caroline Jaeger, that can gather resources. You get really mobile. I wouldn't revolt to this as Sweden, but as Russia, I do. What I did is I got like the H4 mortar card for them, and the H3 card that lets them build mortars and falconets from the blockhouse. And I basically just took over the map, just insane map control. And that was a really fun revolt to do, even though it didn't work out because my teammate wasn't that good. So I actually leave this the same, except leave it the same, except maybe for the hack pellets. Now that they're so weak, maybe give another card here that makes them be imp, because their hack pellets are not that strong now anymore. So that doesn't the 8 infinite shipment. You're not gonna choose that over this bad boy. That is such a nice card. So that would be the only change I would do there, but that's not really necessary change. They're fun how they are. Grand Columbia. I hate this revolt so much. It's garbage. Next. No, I'll talk about it. Grand Columbia. So they're all your villagers turn into Independence Guards. So they're age 4 musketeers. Veteran musketeers. That's age 4, right? Am I getting that wrong? Oh, well, you can get them age 4 musketeers, but they have plus 10% hit points. That's off the base. That's not off total. And they have the hit points and attack, but they're minus 20% speed. I don't need 10% more attack and hit points, but 20% less speed. I'll just go imp. I'll just stay 4. You're not helping me. At least for late game, okay? Obviously, you get 100 Independence Guards. You can do a massive push. Maybe it works out. But if it doesn't, you're completely screwed over going for this. Bolivar, national hero, that's fine. He gets like a 5% boost or whatever. This, the Albion Mercenary Legion, you're not going to use that really because late age 4 mercenaries are already getting weak. But if your opponent goes age 5 and you're stuck on age 4 mercenaries, you're stuck. 4 Gatling guns are not going to help you. The Lennon Narrows or whatever are not going to help you. So after that initial push, you're done for because you have a terrible musketeer now who cannot get anywhere, and he traded that for barely any more attack and hit points. And you just don't have anything else. Now, what I would like here is maybe do what you did for the Hussars of Death. Do that to these musketeers. Make them special. Don't just make a 10% attack and hit points is not special enough for minus 20% speed. So, what would I give here? I'm not sure. Give them extra range. Give them 20 range. I don't care. Do something to compensate for 20% speed because this is not enough. Especially late game. maybe give them that 10% hit points in speed and attack and hit points and take away that speed, but then make it so I can get an imp upgrade for them. So that way I have like a little better musketeers than everyone else. Just something to think about. Just give me something that after that initial push I can still do a little something. I just don't want to sit here a sitting duck after my original push doesn't work. And again, the trade-off, but still, this would make it a more fun thing. People might even try it for treaty. They might try it for free-for-alls. And I want diversity in gameplay. I don't want to sit here and just... I've never seen anyone use this, except my friend, and we had already won the game. So that's a change that you could do for them that I think would be fun. Maybe even make a card right here. Set a card right here that makes the Independence Guard imp level, and also upgrades these mercenaries, because you're not going to get a bunch of or upgrades your mercenaries to Imperial. Because how many times are you going to get this in this? Not that many. It's not that many units. So them being imp isn't going to be a big deal. It's not like you're going to have a ton of coin going for this revolt. So giving them Imperial mercenaries, they're not going to just be shooting out mercenaries everywhere. Like, it's just not going to happen. So you could just add a card there and do that. Haiti. I did enjoy Haiti. I do like. They're like the opposite of Brazil in that the revolutionaries have more hit points and stuff. Now that's actually useful. Give me more hit points but make them cost more food. But that's actually useful. So I do like that bonus right there. I like the pirate, which I'll explain why in a little bit. I do the pirate spawning on town centers is not seem to be fast enough for it to really be useful. Just in my experience, like, it does give you that initial boost, but it doesn't really hold up later on. But I do like the Caribou Gunners, obviously just extra units that are pop free. And the main thing here is this card right here and the pirate. This is the star of the show. If you can save a bunch of coin and build a bunch of these, they will be really strong. But I don't think you'll get that much coin. And this is why these guys are strong. So they have a shock infantry attack. So they are they're a hand cav. But if you send this card right here, it turns them into a skirmisher also. Now, they don't do a whole lot of damage in that ranged attack, but it does mean that they do hold up fine against musketeers. They do hold up fine against dragoons, but they hold up okay against dragoons, not fine. But they can kill infantry. Or sorry, they can kill skirmisher type units because they are cav and they have really good hand attack. They can kill range cav. Or no, I'm sorry. They can kill hand cav just because their damage per one, them being, what are they, one pop? No, they're not full pop. They're one pop. Everything here is actually messed up. Let me see here. Something's wrong. Okay, it's not taking into account their other version. Here we go. The Buccaneers. Is this it? No. Treasure Guardian. I don't know. I think it's a little confusing because he is a mercenary, but also you can get him with a revolt. So I'll just go through this real quick. He's a hand cav that also can stand up against dragoons and musketeers. Fine, that's what he is. He's a cool unit. He has 110 coin. He's hard to mass, and the spawning from the town centers isn't really fast enough to make him that useful. So ultimately, you will fall behind, but you can somewhat boost your overall army with your revolutionaries being stronger. So I find that cool. Overall, a cool idea, but I think it's not going to be useful until they speed up this 48 seconds. If you do that, then maybe this would be a better revolt. And also maybe make it so you can get Imp. That's what a lot of these need, is just allow me to upgrade one unit to Imp, and then later on, after the initial boost, and then fall off later on in the game, I can kind of catch up because I have at least a few imp units. Hungary. Lots of fun. Which one? I'm trying to think. One of these I don't like and one I do. So Hungary, I do like where is this? The Grenadier. But the first off is the Grinzers. They are, what are Grinzers? 3x multiply versus Treasure Guardians? I'm confused by that. I don't remember them doing that. Let me test that real quick. What's the Grimzer? Let's go Germans. Sorry. Just let me test this real quick. I feel like that Wikipedia is wrong though, but it might be right. Come on, load in. Oh. Always wins. Let's do this. That's the one I don't like. That one's okay. Grinzers, revolutionaries with more range but less hit points. Do they have a multiplier against... They do have a multiplier against treasure guardians. That's weird. I'm not sure why that is a thing. I'm not sure why this can pick up. I like the extra range even though it is less hit points on these. That's okay. I like the Pandors or Hadjuks. It's a cool skirm unit. It's basically imp level from what I've seen. The Magyar Hussars I like, even though they're only age 4 Magyar Hussars. And you can only do them once, but that's fine. You don't need to be able to rebuild these. The Hungarian Grenadiers I do really like, because that extra range, even though they can only be age 4, that 20 range is very cool. So overall, I think this is a good revolt. I'm not sure why the Treasure Guardian thing is there. The only thing I would add is I would make Magyar Hussars H4 but make them trainable. I would do that. Or make them an infinite shipment that costs money, but after like the original first shipment, maybe the second shipment of them upgrades them to Imperial Magyar Hussars, but then you can still infinitely ship them for money. Kind of like the Spahi. That would be cool. So I think that might be the only change I would do, is just make these guys to where you can make them imp by paying extra for the card. If you did that, I think it would be a perfectly fine revolt, even though it's already okay. It's already okay, revolt. Actually, that is a thing I would want to bring up, is that I think many of these revolts, they need cards that the first time you ship them, they're age 4, but maybe the second time costs like 1,000 coin or whatever, or just give them another card for 1,000 coin or whatever that upgrades them to imp. I think that would be a good thing you could do. That's what like the Maya Revolt can do, is you have that card that makes you be able to upgrade your units to imp, which I think that is something that they could add to a bunch of other revolts. Overall, I do like this Hungary though. Indonesia is interesting. They do have a really good initial push because of the high siege of the spearmen. Setback cannons I do like, but overall there is the war elephants I do also like. So this overall I do like, but I don't think it'll hold up because just spearmen aren't good enough to hold up later on in the game. Even though like early or late age 4 you get a boost to them with the setback cannons, that might be useful. But a little later on this will definitely fall behind. What could you do to boost them? Maybe give the Javanese spearmen, maybe make them where they can shoot. Maybe make these war elephants imp. Do something like that, and I think that would work out pretty well. I could look at the stats of these real quick. Let me do that. Let me make this industrial age. So I think you could really do something cool with Indonesia. Maybe because like I said, spearmen just won't hold up to other units later on. I don't know if these spearmen have range now. That'd be interesting to see. spearmen have range? No.
Wandering about aimlessly.
They do have 30% range to resist. That's pretty good. But overall, are these one pop? These are very good. Setback cannons are really good. The Japanese spearmen hold up okay for a time, but they real fall behind, and revolutionaries can't really pick up slack either later on, even though the setback cannon will hold up in the late game. So maybe, what would I do here? Make these imp, because it's only one per shipment. So it's only one per shipment. So make this an imp level unit. Give the Japanese spearmen. What would I give them? They're a cool unit. I would like to keep them as spearmen, but maybe give them poison damage. I don't know if that makes sense. It's a bamboo spear. Maybe like bleeding damage or something. I don't know. You could do something like that to make them a little more interesting. But yeah, so that could be fun. Give them like bleeding damage. It'd be like the same thing as the poison damage, but just a little unique. Maybe make them like bleed and slow even more. So like, what is it called? What's the thing called where you slow people down? I can't think of what it's called when you slow the enemy down, but that thing, maybe make that more. But that is really, it's a cool revolt. Even in the late game, it might be useful. So I wouldn't change too much on that, other than maybe add a little bit more to the spearmen. Maya, love Maya. Wish every revolt was like them. Peru. So Peru, I have done a video of them, even though it wasn't very late game. I do find Haraka as useless. This is a useless card. These are useless units. I don't know why they're a thing. I have seen people use them, and I have destroyed them easily. I do like the Peruvian Guard, but as is right now, overall, this is not a great revolt other than the initial bonus. After that initial bonus, they do fall off. The only thing that could really boost them is give them like I said for other civs, other revolts, give them an extra card right here that makes you upgrade their proving guard to like an imp. That's all you would need. I don't even need like an imp cannon. Just make those guys imp, and maybe give them a grenade launcher attack, kind of like grenadiers. Don't make them take so long to throw their grenades. And that's really all you need, and suddenly this would be a good late game one. Obviously, make it cost money for that imp, so that people can't abuse it by just doing it right away. But that I do like this revolt, but if you did that, it would be okay in the late game and not just for initial boosts. I don't really want to talk about Revolutionary France. They know they're working on stuff with that. I don't think I need to discuss it. Romania. This guy has this has the Rosier Dragoon. So settlers become Dorbats, 10% hit points but -2 range. That's like the opposite of the Grenzers. I'm okay with that. The Rosier Dragoon is like, here's the thing, the Rosier Dragoon. Let me talk about this. This has plus 15% attack, plus 10% speed, minus 15% hit points. This is not the right way to do special units. What you need to give them is make it so that they can get the Rosier Dragoon, make it a Dragoon with plus 100% attack, but age 4 hit points, kind of like the Hussar of Death. That, like, you're not, and unlike the Chile Revolt, you're not just suddenly get a bunch of Rosier Dragoons when you go with this revolt. It takes time. So really, like, this is not, the Rosier Dragoons is just not going to be a useful unit, especially post, like, late age 4. Maybe even in age 4, it's not going to last very long. And it's not really going to give you initial boost because you're losing 15% hit points. Like, you're not gaining anything, you're just trading off. Unlike the Hussars of Death, you're getting an imp unit. This, you're just getting a slightly different age 4 unit. And even the Wahalian Horse Archers, I know I said that wrong, I don't care. You get a faster rate of fire. You get imp attack with this Horse Archers. You get a little bit more speed, but you get minus 33% hit points. So it's not they're just giving you the imp attack like Hussars of Death and keeping you H4 hit points. They're taking away more hit points. They're giving you imp attack, taking away more hit points. No, keep my normal H4 hit points, but give me that imp attack. You did this with the Hussar of Death. Why can't you do this for this unit? So that's what they need to do with that. Hijacks, I already talked. I like them. They're slightly less, I think, than a imp skirm, but overall they are useful. So really, I don't need two ranged cav options here. Maybe for who can option this? Ottomans and Russians. Ooh, I don't know what the Rosier Dragoon's really for then. Both of them go. I maybe just take this away. I'm not sure what the point of that is, but maybe at least with the Wahalian Horse Archers, do the same thing you did with Hussars of Death. I don't know what you would want to do with the Rosier Dragoons. I don't know why they're there. But give me that imp attack that you get with the faster rate of fire, but don't take away my H4 hit points. They don't need less than H4 hit points. And if you did that, they would be a good H4 thing because you do have infinite horse artillery, you have the infinite forts, all that's good. But their units just are really bad with all these nerfs, like the minus 33% hit points. That just completely ruins their units. South Africa, I don't think it needs any change. It's a perfectly fun thing. I like it. It doesn't. It gives you a little initial boost with that 10%, and then even in the late game with the infinite 5% hit points and the infinite fort, both those, you're good. You don't really need. You can just, as long as the game lasts long enough, you'll be fine. The again, I think all civs, all revolts should be like South Africa and like the Maya. So the initial revolt gives you a boost because you get cooler units, and you get like in South Africa you get a little eco boost, but then it falls off as other people hit H5. But then post stage 5 you can catch up with the infinite hit points. And so I like that. I think this is a really cool revolt, and I wish more would like it. Which I don't think. Well, all revolts are just not all revolts need to be the same, and like let me rephrase this. I don't think it's a good excuse not to change it because this is how it's supposed to be. I think it should be different because that way people would use them in wider situations than the way they're used now, which is simply I'm about to lose or I'm about to win. That's all they really are right now, except for South Africa and Canada, and maybe Finland to some extent. But other than that, none of these others are really being used except in that I'm about to win or I'm about to lose situation. But I think you need to change these to make them available to wider strategies. United States, actually, United States is just like Canada in that with this card right here, the Native American Allies, you have all H4 units, but you do get a bunch of pop unit like zero pop units. So honestly, USA is like Canada. It's good. I don't think anything really necessarily needs to change. I like the volunteer. This card, conscription. I don't think that's necessary. This was a marine card. Now that's a change I want to see. Make this a marine card instead of conscription. Now that would be cool. That's all that needs to change for USA Revolt. But overall, that's it. That's really all I have to say about these, I believe. I just think more of these revolts need to be useful in other situations than I'm about to win or I'm about to lose. And right now that's what most of them are. But there are a few that are very diverse, which people do use and which are fun. So I don't know why we can't make it more than just like 3 revolts that are diverse. Like, give me other revolts that can do different things. And Mexico did this really well. You got California, you got Texas, and you have the Maya revolt. All of those are so much fun. It's like a whole nother, an entire civ that you get to play with. And I don't know why these other revolutions can't be like them. Like these revolts, Texas isn't overpowered, California's overpowered, Maya isn't overpowered, especially in 1v1s. But they can keep up with other post imp civs because of certain cards and such. I hope I haven't just complained about, I don't like this unit or that unit, but I hope I've given fixes. That's what I want to do. Is not just like be out here like this unit's garbage. I don't like this, but I also want to be like, this is fixable. You can do this to this. You can do this to this. I think I've done that. At least I hope I have to some extent. But 45 minutes. I know this is a long one, but if you did watch it all the way through, thank you for watching. And I hope that maybe a developer sees this. Maybe I'll start a forum on it, try to get some traction. Because I do want changes to these. I think this could be really cool, fun changes that would keep players playing the game. Which DLCs will do that, but unlike this thing, some people will be like, oh, another DLC, but they won't be like, oh, cool new revolution change. They won't be like, some people will be like, oh, new DLC, like they just keep dropping DLCs, but they're not gonna be like, oh, new revolutions. That sounds terrible. Like they just dropped so many new revolutions. Like these haven't been touched in so long that you could add these and make these changes, and people would like them. At least I hope they would. I wonder if you'll like them. So, if you want to comment or whatever, I do want to know if anyone watches this. I don't know if anyone will. What you think and what changes you think should happen. So, thank you.